I understand there was an incident recently. Do you want to tell us about that?
An incident? You say that like it's a small thing, like it wasn't a catastrophic event. One
The
that
incident.
wasn't.
We're talking about the
Life-changing.
incident here.
This is the incident, the biggest moment in all of history of mankind. This is the fifth dimension, a dimension that nobody ever believed in, nobody ever saw, nobody's ever been to. It's us, all right? It's me and him, and it's not just an incident. An incident is I fell off my bike.
This is our lives. This is our lives we're talking about. It was a normal day. It was like every sorry.
What were you doing at the
home.
time?
We were home. We were home. We were at their cats. We were playing with the cats. We were
Pat was
eating.
there.
Pat was there.
We don't know where Pat is
We
now.
started hearing this music,
Does he
and
know what
it was outside. And it just started getting louder and louder and
hot.
louder.
It was hot. But only in the inside. My skin was cold. My hair was standing up. My throat felt raspy and my hands were clammy. And I looked at John, and before I even had to ask, I knew. I knew he felt the same, and I knew Pat felt the same. But the difference was,
Don't talk about Pat.
is Pat was a little different. We're safer, I think. Pat was different. It's similar to the feeling I have now. The impending doom, the motionless silence that's forever wrung the earth.
Why? I just don't understand why this all came to be.
That's what we're trying to piece together. You might hold the key to the answers we're looking for. By telling us your perspective, you can help us out.
When we looked outside, the sky was red. It was red.
And dark. It was about noon.
It didn't make any sense. But this sound, it got louder and louder and louder. And we don't know where it came from. But the people, our neighbors, the people just started coming outside.
Dropping.
It was something like I'd never seen before.
It almost looked like they were praying when they hit their knees.
The screams, the screams were. It's something that you're not gonna forget.
Inhumane, I would say. They hit their knees. John, are they boom, all the way down, one by one. Pat! We didn't know where Pat was going, and it all happened so fast that we didn't realize that Pat was going to be one of them, one of the martyrs, so to speak. And Pat walks out, opens our white door, and it was the weirdest thing that we heard his hand burn on the doorknob. And we see a little bit of smoke, and we look at each other, and he walks out, door opens, goes in our vestibule, screened-in porch, opens the other one, knees. Done. And I instinctively ran and closed the door and screamed, "What the fuck was that? What's going on?" And that's when we found out we had been moved, not so much transported or teleported to another place, but subatomically altered in the same realm, in the same space and time, but our surroundings were different. And the only thing about it was the soothing aspect of the place. The screaming was gone, the clamminess on my hand was gone. The only thing that I could ever relate it to is like a nice warm shot.
And the smell. There was like a smell. It went from like insane, frantic, just chaos to a calm, peaceful. I can't describe the smell. It was like
Sulfuric vinegar or something. Unworldly.
it made you sick.
Could you tell us more about this Pat character? About
I mean, he was our roommate. He was our friend.
Stand-up guy, sincere.
But I've known him for about 7 years. He knew him for
2.5, 3.
And I don't know. Nothing was weird the whole time. And then
We were all just drinking coffee. We all have class today. We thought we'd just hang out before we gotta go. And like he said, the noise came up. And next thing we knew, Pat was outside laying down. I don't know what our government is up to, if they have something to do with this, or another government has something to do with this, or somebody finally answered the echoes of the radio waves that NASA's been sending out, and the people that did may have not liked what they had heard. But whatever it was, where it brought us to was a place of, in the beginning, serenity, where we were away from the chaos of what we had just left. And it wasn't really until our bearings were found and we smelt the smell that was pungent that we understood that we were out of the pan, out of the frying pan into the fire. And the only way I would describe it as almost a purgery sort of place. It's a symphonic purgery. Something that you'd see in some supernatural show or supernatural anime or something. And I thought that was it for me, and I thought to myself, selfishly, at least John's here. At least I'm not here alone. And we started walking, and I don't know why we were so hell-bent on getting back to where we had just come from. But we knew that's what we had to do. We needed answers to what we had to go for. And on the horizon, there was only one little blip, one little almost mirage-like structure in the distance. And strangely enough, I looked down and I still had my coffee in my hand. And I thought, if I don't ever get out of here, we might have to split this. This could be our last ration. So we started walking toward the mirage-like structure. And we walk up to a hole about as big as this table. And John looks at me, I look at John, and we say, we sigh, did we try it? And I took my coffee and I poured it into what I thought was a hole, and sure enough, it broke the surface, and it was a hole. And I looked at him, and before he could say anything, I grabbed him and pulled him, and it was like a wormhole of sorts. We didn't just fall down and reach terminal velocity. We fell down and were pulled faster. So fast I could barely breathe, and before I could even know it, that same feeling of subatomic transfer and translusion in opaque like blindness. We were back to our house, and we look around, and the screaming was gone, and the sky was dark, but only because so much time had passed. What seemed to be 10 minutes, but was really 11 hours.
But we were together, so it was real. It was like
If it wasn't real, I don't think we'd be sitting here.
I can't explain it. If Matt wasn't there, it would have just felt like a dream. It didn't seem as though it was actually happening. It was actually a thing. It was like a movie. It was like I was watching a movie of somebody else's life.
I wish I was.
And it was just us.
And what solidified the truth and validity behind the experience is I opened the door and I looked through the screen in vestibule of my house, 664 Northeast Rustic Way, and there was Pat. That's when we called you guys. We called the police. We told them what happened on our street. And there was about 12 other people that were face down, knees bleeding, noses bleeding from where they hit, broken, dismembered teeth. And you guys showed up and were as confused as well, not you guys, but the local police. And once they couldn't put answers to it, and it went up the chain of command, and now we're with Homeland Security. And here we are.
Wow. Well, that's quite a story. Well, thanks for sharing it with us. We'll try to do what we can in our investigative department. And you don't mind this being used as part of our YouTube documentary, right?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you.